Hello everybody, my name is Cogline3639. Welcome to another dueling video. Today in this one, it's Sky Strikers versus Datascape. Now, I am controlling the Datascapes, that's why you can see the Datascape's hand, and then my opponent is controlling the Sky Strikers. Now let's get into the plays. I first activate Foolish Burial to send Datascape Queen Long to the graveyard, so I can get its effect in the grave. Before activating it though, I do want to activate Emergency Teleport, which I do, and then end up going Virtual World Heme. And then now I can activate, now I do decide to activate Virtual World Queen Long in the graveyard, banish him to add a Virtual World monster, which here I should have went Virtual World Mayhem, the level 3 tuner. Yeah, the level 3 tuner that I can add from the deck, but I don't. I end up going Virtual World GG instead, and then I also mess up again because I should have sent the spell instead of the monster, so I can try to do more plays with it, but you can't get all of them, right? So I do activate Virtual World Lao Lao that can special summon from the graveyard. I send the trap to special summon him, and then special summon GG because of Lao Lao's effect. Man, some weird names with the virtual worlds, by the way. So I do go into virtual world Kaibu. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. Virtual world Kaibu. And then now I recognize I did make a mistake. I really can't go into any other plays now because of that. Yeah, so kind of a misplay from me. I should recognize that in the future to always, because always adding a virtual world Mayhem, the adder or the searcher for the that's not the spell, is pretty amazing. Should have went her instead of Gigi, but you know that's what I have to do. I activate virtual world Heme because she got banished and add my trap back, and then go into the Sky Striker's turn. So yeah, a lot of misplays from me, but it wasn't too bad. I still ended up going into my virtual world Kaibu Shin. Well, maybe I'll just call it Shin from now on. Yeah, that's a lot more easier to pronounce than Kaibu. So he does wait a little bit here. He has to worry about that the Shin because it can prevent anything sent from the field to the graveyard to be banished instead. So it's kind of a good card. He has to worry about it. So yeah, so he's just thinking, well, how he's going to get around this. And he does book a Moonit to make sure that doesn't happen. And then he goes into a, if it doesn't take his time here. He does activate their Sky Striker Aerospace Era 0, the field spell for their deck, and then tries to activate the effect by targeting the set card to destroy it, and then spell summon a Sky Striker, which I do Ash Blossom because I do not want that to happen. Especially since I know the Sky Strikers can kind of take advantage of their spells getting destroyed and stuff like that. So I prevent that from happening, and now that kind of screws him because it seems like he has no other Sky Striker play here. I don't think he has any in hand, or he would already play it. So he's kind of have to think. He does have a Pot of Desires in his hand. Out of his 3 cards, he does have a Pot of Desires. Now he's just thinking if it's worth banishing the 10. Which, I mean, if you're going to play Pot of Desires, that's always going to have to be the worth the 10. But I don't know why he was thinking on it. I mean, if you literally have nothing else, might as well go to the draw too. I have nothing in my hand, so I can't Ash Blossom it or something like that. So yeah, he just does think for a while on this. It kind of sucks about dueling next is sometimes people like to take their fucking time, and then on the replays I can't skip forward. But he does activate the Pot of Desires and banish 10 to draw 2. And he Rigeki, so that must have been one of his cards he drew into. It doesn't matter, I can get Shin back onto the field anyways next turn. And he does have to set and pass here with no cards on this field. I actually end up drawing a Virtual World Lao Lao. That's a pretty amazing card to have, because I can just activate it. I should have sent, I end up having, I wanted to send him, but then I remembered I have to get Virtual World Shin back on the field, so I just ended up sending Lily because she's an Earth monster. And I could have ended up specialing Shin, but I knew I can get him back onto the field by his own effect, so I just end up summoning Gigi through Lao Lao's effect. Now I'm just going through just real quick, and then I actually end up going Vermilion Dragon Mech because its effect is you can banish any tuner from your graveyard to destroy 1 card on the field, which is a nice card to have on the field. yeah, a nice card because this deck has plenty of tuners in it, so that's kind of not a problem. And it's the level 9 Synchro, which is, again, not a problem to go into in this deck. And then I go into activating Virtual World Virtual World Shin by banishing Ash Blossom, which is always nice. You don't need to banish Datascape or Virtual World monsters to summon him. You can banish any attributes to go into him, and then I proceed to activate Vermilion Dragon Mech next by banishing, Lala, my only tuner in my graveyard, and end up just going in. I was thinking about Aerospace. I ended up bringing his effect because I was like, can he activate this again? He probably can. But I decided just to, try to use his back row or just destroy the back row to see what the hell he has. Especially that especially the middle set, he tried to destroy himself, so I decided not to do it. So I ended up just destroying the second set he did. Now I proceed to go into the battle phase. I attack with both monsters. I activate Shin's effect to add one of my banished monsters back to my graveyard, which ends up being a Virtual World Heem. And then attack with both monsters, and then now he's down to 25. I go into main phase 2 to go into my True King of all Calamities, and then go into my end phase. Now during his draw phase, I'm gonna try to activate True King of all Calamities. I do detach Shin because that's always a nice to detach. But he does have a response to this, and that is Sky Striker Widow Anchor, which takes his control of my monster. But it does negate the effect too, so he goes into battle. I guess he literally had no other card, so he has to go into battle, and then he uses the field spell to destroy True Kings, but ends up not working because he did not have a Sky Striker card in the top 3, and I end up getting True King of all Calamities back. Now I end up drawing into a Kaiju. It doesn't really matter in this point because, again, he has no monsters in his on his field. I activate Shin to banish again 2 monsters with different types and attributes. To special summon Shin, and then I just proceed to go into the battle phase to see if I can literally do it, just to see if it's game or not. Because he did set again. Maybe he's trying to scare me. Maybe it's a bluff. Who cares? One attack will gain him. So I do attack by I end up activating Shin's effect to add one of my banished monsters just in case it didn't gain him, but it did. So that is game 1. So yeah, now I'm now into my siding. Now I know he's using Sky Striker, so I decided to go into Nibiru instead. And now Ghost Bell, the Haunted Mansion. I was like, I don't know if this will honestly be a good card for me in this case. I'll take one of them out for Alpha, the Beast of. I'll just call him Alpha, the Master of Beasts, and then end up taking one of the Ghost Bells out. And then I was just thinking, is there anything else I need to do? And I just decided that'll be it. So yeah, I am using the Virtual World deck I made a deck profile for. This is the deck. The only difference is I replaced Effect Veiler with Ghost Bell. And then I replaced Cicada King with Totem Bird, just to get that negate traps or any of the player, or negate spells and traps or any of the player's turn. But yeah, that's literally the only replacement between the decks, and I will put a link in the description down below if you haven't watched it yet. So yeah, now he's just side decking as well his Sky Strikers. Because he didn't really draw into anything his first turn. He didn't draw into any monsters, it seemed like, because I think if he did, it would have came out, but it didn't happen. So he did go first, and that was a nice side deck for me because I ended up doing an alpha draw, and I am going second, so that is pretty nice. No Nibiru though, which kind of sucks. But this literally was his only play to link off into one of his Sky Striker Link monsters. He does set 3. And then proceed to activate Sky Striker Ace Shizuku to add a Sky Striker spell from his deck to his hand. Now, here's the thing with Alpha, the Master of Beasts, and the reason why this card's so good in the current metagame right now. People have to respond to this card, no matter what. So even if there's any other deck, the people have to respond to this card, and this is usually can special summon himself. So he has to summon Judgment in. And now I don't need to worry about Solomon Judgment. I can go into the rest of my combo plays. So that's the reason why Alpha the Master Beast is so good, because they have to respond to it. Because if they don't respond to it, and then one of their fucking cards are getting sent from going back to their hand. So I do end up normal summoning Virtual World Heme here. I do know he has a response because he's waiting for opponent. That's kind of the one thing with Dueling Nexus is you don't know. Their responses aren't really a surprise because you have to wait for them to see if they want to activate it. I do activate Virtual World Lily here to send a spell and trap. That's the good thing about Lily. You can Foolish Burial twice. And then I do activate Virtual World Queen Long in the graveyard to try to add a Datascape card or Datascape monster from my deck to my hand. He does have a response. He does have a response to it. He does wait a while for this. I think he was just thinking maybe he can do something. So he does have a response to this. But he never ends up activating it, and he just ends up taking the fucking like 30-40 seconds to respond to it. So yeah, I mean, the Sky Strikers used to be meta in that, they banned some of its cards, and then it kind of fell out of favor. And now it's still like good. It's good to see play. It's a fun deck to use as well, but no longer the meta game. And the same thing with the Virtual Worlds. They're not really meta right now. They are a fun deck to use. They aren't meta right now because, Dragon Link and Dinosaurs and, all the meta are still right there. Maybe if they hit them Dragon Links and Dinosaurs, maybe you can see Datascape start going into the meta. But Virtual Worlds go into the meta. But so far they have not. And if I keep saying Datascape or Virtual Worlds, I keep getting confused on their names because I was testing this deck for like the past 2 months before they came out. So I'm used to them, their OCG names in Datascapes before they switched to Virtual Worlds in the TCG. So if I end up saying Datascape over Virtual Worlds, just know that I do mean Virtual Worlds, not Datascape. So he does let it go through. I end up adding a Virtual World Mayhem, and then sending the spell card to the graveyard. And then I proceed just to think a little bit and then activate Virtual World Mayhem by targeting the spell card so I can send so I end up sending a monster to the graveyard so I can get that Virtual World Lao monster effect and then add a trap card to my hand. And then proceed to activate Virtual World Lao. I end up targeting this spell card again. He does have a response, but he does let it go through. And then end up sending Virtual World Heme. And then end up specialing Gigi, which sucks because now that my field is full, I can't activate Heme in the graveyard to special summon himself because the level 3 got summoned. But that is perfectly fine. Now I do go into my Virtual World Sheen Gene again. I end up going into the extra monster zone. He does have a response to it. He does take a while to this. But yeah, he's like, okay, I'm going to have to respond to this. He does book a Moon it, so nothing gets prevented here. Which honestly helps me out because now my 3 monsters on the field won't leave the field now. Won't get banished, my bad. I do end up activating the trap to increase Virtual World Lao Lao's effect. Or no, Lao Lao's Mayhem's level by 3, putting her up to 6. Now I can go into either an XYZ play or into Ultimate Zaku, which can go into my Crystal Winged Dragon. I was thinking either because I can set here, but I end up deciding. I was also thinking Virtual World Phoenix here, Virtual Phoenix Fan. I was just kind of thinking all over the place because depending on what he does in his next turn, I kind of have to worry. So I end up doing a Photon Striker, so I can get that negation effect in his next turn. I end up setting a card and then going into a battle phase. I view my banished area just to see if I can activate my trap next turn, which I can, because I do have 2 virtual cards in there. So I attack with Photon Strike against the the Sky Striker Link monster and then attack directly with Virtual World Team. Now his turn. He activates Sky Striker Aerospace Arrow 0. I end up activating Virtual World Chuchi to get rid of the field spell so he can't go into it. And then add my only two banished Virtual World cards back into my deck. And now I have one more monster negation effect here. And it kind of sucks. He had another Book of Moon to get around Virtual World Shinshin, the synchro that's a macrocosmos basically. It kind of sucks that he did go around that card. So now he has to think a little bit. And then he activates Sky Striker Aerospace Arrow 0 in the graveyard to special summon a Sky Striker Ace Ray. And then links off with Ray into Karagari. Then target one Sky Striker spell to add it back to your hand. I do end up negating that effect and then inflicting 1,000 damage to him. He's now left at 400 life points. I just need to deal 400 more life points to him, and now he's gamed. So he ends up activating Sky Striker Mecha Mori, equipping it to Sky Striker Karagari. He attacks over Virtual World Heme here, and then goes into main phase 2. And then he links off into Sky Striker Kiena, and then targets the face-up monster Photon Striker to make sure he doesn't attack. Goes into Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones to get a token onto the field. And then links 2 into Sky Striker Ace Zeke. And then just ends up banishing Photon Strike for the rest of my turn, which doesn't matter here. I remember I do have to do at least 500 damage to him. He did end up getting 100 life points. The card did gain 1,000 attack through this, so if I attacked over with Virtual World Sheen over it, it would not game him. So I do go into my main phase. I end up flipping up Virtual World Sheen, and then proceed to activate Virtual World Gate Queen Long to negate the effect of Sky Striker Ace. So the attack decreases by 1,000 because I do negate the effect. I end up banishing. It didn't really matter who I banished here. So I end up banishing Mayhem, negate the effect, and then I just proceed to go to battle to see if that's game, which it is. I do not activate the effect, and he does lose. So yeah, that was a 2-0 victory for the Virtual Worlds. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'm probably doing, the next video will probably be something with the Phantom Knights, because I still need to do a deck profile on that, or maybe another dueling video, you never know. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.